Hello friends, it's Rachel Archelaus. Today we're going to talk about a subject that can be triggering, it can be scary, it can be sad, and that is suicide. And I'm going to speak on it from my experience as a professional psychic medium and also a person who is connected to interdimensional beings. So this might be a perspective that you haven't heard before. I would love to hear your take on it in the comments. Feel free to let us all know where you're coming from and if you have any additional questions. So as you might know, I worked as a professional medium for a few years. So people would come into me, I wouldn't know them ahead of time, and they would ask me to connect with their loved ones. And sometimes their loved ones would walk in with them, and so I would know immediately who they're wanting to talk to. And other times they would have to ask me for, connect me with my brother or my grandfather. So I remember my first suicide because I was actually at somebody's house and we were having kind of an event. There was this woman I'd never met before and she started asking me about her brother. And what I started feeling and seeing was this man in a room alone, and it felt like he was in India or Thailand or like someplace far away and someplace where there are elephants, because this guy showed me an envelope that was addressed to her with an elephant stamp on it. And so as I was getting this image and this feeling, it started to feel really heavy, it started to feel really sad, and it started to feel like he had taken his own life. And that was the first time I encountered that. And so I relayed that to her and she kind of said, yeah, I know, we had a feeling. So it wasn't confirmed that that's what happened, but that's what the family had assumed. And I don't remember if she actually got the letter or not, or if that was just his way of telling me where he was and what he was up to. Because often a letter is connected with suicides, but we basically just talked about what happens when somebody commits suicide after that. So it's a perfect segue into this conversation here. So from my experience and my experience alone, nothing different happens to you when you commit suicide. I remember reading in, I think it was Dr. Newton's book, that sometimes if somebody commits suicide, they will choose to be alone after they pass for a while to kind of recover. And then they'll go meet with their family and their friends. So that's a possibility. I'm not really sure about that. All I know is that you are fine. Whatever happens here does not translate to your non-physical self. So whether you are horrifically murdered here, or you stub your toe and you die, or you have a heart attack, or you commit suicide, it doesn't matter, because you're still your vibrational self. And once you pass, that is what you are immediately. I've spoken with so many people who have died, and it's always the same story no matter what, and it's always a happy one. It's always a I'm back, like I'm great, there's no more grudges, there's no more pain, I'm running now, I'm free, I'm alive, I'm amazing, I'm getting to choose what I'm doing. Like there's so much freedom and so much potential, and there's no more character or role that they're having to fit into, even if they're talking to us in a personality that we would know. So therefore, there is no reason to hold on to any pain or hurt or circumstance or lens or filter that they had in this lifetime, right? So if when you die, you become your absolute pure, 100% healthy, alive, non-physical self, there's no reason to carry over anything from this lifetime into that. So there's no punishment for committing suicide. There's no residual effects of committing suicide, and it does not mean that you have to come back and do this life over again. I've definitely heard that before. Just remembering that we are sovereign beings, we are extensions of Source, can help clear things up when you're wondering if there are rules on us, because there aren't. Of course, we are choosing to agree on certain things. We're choosing to agree on gravity right now, and we're choosing, some of us, to agree on linear time right now, but that's not actually the truth of who we are. And once we are back in that non-physical state, it disappears. So other than things we agree on dimensionally, there's not really anything that we can't do, and there's absolutely, definitely no punishment anywhere for doing anything. So I hope that helps you get clear on suicide from the human perspective. But just because there's no punishment and it's, not a big deal to our non-physical self how we pass, sometimes our extra dimensional friends will get involved. So I had an experience where in high school I got really, truly depressed. I was aware that I was depressed, but I was also aware of this kind of feeling in the background that it was okay. I was allowing myself to just go through that feeling, or non-feeling as it was, and just like let it roll and let it pass, because that's kind of how I was choosing to deal with it. I just had this knowing that all was well, and this is what I was just going to experience for a while. But when I was 17, I had a visitation from some Zeta family. Those are the skinny gray-green aliens with the long skinny fingers and the big eyes, and 5 of them appeared in front of me at night as I was writing a letter on my couch. Everyone else in the house was asleep. I was still living with my family at the time, and I was absolutely terrified, so super completely terrified. I couldn't move, I couldn't talk, and I couldn't hear or feel them, even though I was totally open. I was just so afraid that there was a wall up. And I had no idea I was connected to extraterrestrials at the time. I'd never considered it. I'd never thought about it at all. I just had no clue. So it was a total shock to me that they would be there. Years and years and years later, I had a reading with Nora Harold, and she mentioned that encounter was really to kind of put me back on course to staying alive. My Zeta family was worried that I would be leaving them, committing suicide, because I was so depressed. I never really felt suicidal. I can't tell you that I ever thought about leaving this planet early, but the story was really cute, and I'm just going with it because they were just trying to show me love. They were just trying to come here and say, hey, we're part of something. We're bigger than this. You're bigger than this. And I thought that was really beautiful. Your guides, your angels, your ET friends and family, they can come and get involved in your life if they think that you're going to harm yourself. And I think a lot of times that's when there's a walk-in situation or some kind of intervention. I've heard many times that for very famous people, not saying that I'm in that group, but they've come down to it, they're ready to go, they're ready to, pull the trigger, and something really huge and energetic happens to get them back on the path of life. So I think that can happen, and it's just another way that life is really mysterious and fun and amazing. So I hope this helps clear things up. To me, it's pretty simple. It doesn't matter how you die, you're still a source being, right? You don't lose any privileges, nobody looks down on you, there's nothing like that. So to those who have passed and find that is an easier thing to do than to continue on living on Earth, more power to them, because they're beautiful, whole, non-physical beings at the moment who can choose to come back if they would like to. Not that I'm an advocate for suicide, absolutely not. I've actually helped talk some people out of it in my life. And I will mention that if you are suicidal and you're watching this, please contact someone. Please call the National Suicide Hotline. Please know that you are absolutely a beautiful and worthy being, and anything that is happening in your life can absolutely be turned around, and that you are bigger than any problem. So with that, guys, I love you lots, and if you have any more questions, let me know. Bye for now.